Hey, want to learn some simple psychology tricks that'll work in 5 minutes? A lot of information has been written on the internet about how to read other people's brains and control other minds for manipulation. But we've put together this incredible list of psychological tricks and tips that'll work on any of the people you meet in daily life. And the best part is that you can immediately start testing them out on your family and friends. Isn't that pretty cool? Number 1. Find out anything from anyone. If your family member or friend struggles to open up to you, this trick is a perfect way to get that information out of them in full detail. Ask them a question, and if they respond partially or it feels like they're hiding something, simply keep eye contact and remain silent for a few seconds. The silence combined with eye contact will make them uncomfortable. They'll do anything to break this tension, even if that means giving you the information they were holding back. So remain silent for a few seconds, and they will most likely continue to talk. Number 2, always be agreeable. Being agreeable isn't a bad quality. In psychological terms, being agreeable usually means you're an empathetic person who craves social harmony. That's great, but sometimes it manifests itself in a really disingenuous way. Want people to agree with what you're saying? Simply start nodding while saying the thing you want the other person to agree with. The nodding action makes the person start to believe what you're saying is actually true, and will most likely begin to nod as well and agree with you. This can work in certain situations where you need to make a good impression on someone, but don't get greedy. This won't work on everyone. Number 3, reducing the risk of conflict. If you're in a group gathering or meeting and you think someone is likely to become aggressive towards you, sit next to them. Sure, it's easy to show anger towards someone when they're sitting on the other side of the table, but what if they're sitting right next to you? Then it makes things harder and more awkward to do so. Number 4, being memorable. This little psychology trick can be incredibly useful if you're trying to stand out and give people a clear memory of yourself or the time you spent with them. People tend to remember the beginning and end of something the clearest. The middle, however, is where things start to get a little blurry. What does this mean? Well, if you're setting up a time for an interview, try and make sure you're either interviewed first or last. If you're going on a date, try picking the beginning or the end of the day. And whilst on a date, make sure to set a strong impression for the beginning and end of the date. Number 5, warm hands. Try and make sure you have warm hands when you shake someone's hand for the first time. Warm hands signify a warm approach and introduction. This makes you far more impressive and attractive to the other person, no matter who they are. Cold hands symbolize a cold and poor introduction. Number 6, the great listener. A good listener is attentive. They make good eye contact, don't interrupt what the other person is saying, and show an interest in what is being communicated. Here's a great tip for looking like a great listener. Whenever your friend makes a statement, paraphrase it and repeat it. This way, they'll think you're paying a great deal of attention and that you're listening intently to what they have to say. Don't do this all the time, though. They might catch on. Number 7, use a person's name right away. Does this make you curious about the psychology behind it? The way someone calls your name could indicate how well they know you. If you want to make an impression on someone and maybe even appear charming to them, try repeating their name throughout the conversation. This is because when we hear our names, it grabs our attention and makes us feel like we're being personally addressed and really engaged with. People love to hear their own names, but make sure you don't overdo it, as you might appear a little bit creepy. And number 8, stay silent and see what else people say. Studies say silence has been found to stimulate brain growth. So if a person has not completely answered your question or hasn't come around to see your point of view yet, try remaining quiet while they're finishing talking. People often solve their own questions or concerns if you let them keep talking, and your silence will compel them to continue talking. Speak only when you feel your words are better than silence. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to our channel.